Welcome back to the Best Ever You Global Summit. I'm Kris Fuller here with Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino, and we're very excited to welcome our next speaker, Bernard Robichaud. Boston-born, Los Angeles-based actor, writer, and comic, Canadian Bernard Robichaud was known to fans worldwide as Cyrus, the gun-toting, drug-dealing nemesis from the hit television series Trailer Park Boys, started his life in the spotlight as a sought-after model. Believe it or not, this athletic man who grew up playing hockey and basketball and today is an avid golfer was hired to voice the characters of both Becky and Robert in the CBC radio drama In Becky's Name. His uncanny talent of being able to transform himself into a rough and tumble lowlife to a ruggedly handsome good guy has garnered Bernard a variety of most interesting roles over his career, including performances alongside such Hollywood icons as James Caan and Kathy Bates. Bernard Robichaud is a prostate cancer survivor as well. Please join me in welcoming Bernie to our show. Hi, it's Kris, and I'm here with Elizabeth, and we can't wait to introduce you to our next guest. So we have Bernie Robichaud with us. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
I woke up this morning and I thought that was a good sign.
I did too. I was like, okay, the day will be great from there.
Yeah, yeah.
We have the pleasure of being with you. So how are you? What's been happening in your world?
Well, you know, it's all COVID related.
Yeah.
I'm just staying fit and trying to keep myself occupied during the off and on lockdowns that have been we've all been dealing with. So it is what it is. I don't know that I want to get into a whole thing on what's going on. It's I guess everybody's got their own opinions and things, and that's probably best just to we all deal with our own things our own way. So that's probably the better way to deal with it. But I'm healthy, and California is warmer than most places. So and it's lots of great trails and beaches, and so I'm faring okay.
Yeah, warmer than where you were. You made a pretty big move. How long ago was that now?
Yeah, it's
years?
Been 2.5 years now since I moved from East Coast to Canada. Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and does everybody go, it's Cyrus? There too.
It's odd. I didn't think that would be an issue out here. Unlike Canada, I mean, the show is pretty big. And I know that it's globally, it's global, because of the internet, Netflix. But I guess I just didn't think it would be as big a deal in California. But it's surprisingly as quite popular out here. So yeah, I don't get it as often, and so that's kind of nice. But I still get it out here, which is I guess more of a surprise to me, I guess, in many ways. Grateful that people are appreciate it as much as they do back home. But yeah, that was a little humbling when you're on a golf course, and because I caddy professionally out here at some of the top golf courses in the world, like Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Cypress Point, and the Preserve. So they're all in the top, I think, 50 in the world. So yeah, it's kind of weird when people are, hasn't happened since the COVID thing, but because of the travel restrictions. But prior to that, yeah, I mean, it was kind of strange when people would suddenly stop in the middle of a swing and recognize me. Oh my God, I've been wondering where that voice was coming from the entire time. So it's kind of strange, when in the middle you go from giving reads to talking about nothing except Trailer Park Boys for the next 5 or 6 holes. So that's yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. They're not sure whether or not they should be yelling 4 or just spending all their time talking to you.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that would come out of their mouths, and 4 wasn't one of them. Yeah.
Super funny.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
so with all that, okay, so we're gonna get serious now, just a little bit, because we're gonna help people be our best for a little while here. And in one of those things, one of our questions to you is, what's something that people actually misunderstand about you?
I'm not the character.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest one. I get called Cyrus more so than I do my own name, which is little strange, but and even still today, I mean, I guess there's probably many people know what my real name is, but I think they just identify with the character from the show more so than my own name. And maybe Cyrus is just easier for them to put together as a 2-syllable word as opposed to Bernard Robichaud or something. I don't know what it is. That doesn't bother me anymore anyway. I mean, I think it used to initially, where you want to be identified for your portrayal of a character or your work. I think that's kind of evident now anyway. They're just identifying me and the character and it's all the same thing. But I'm not the character. So I still get people saying, "Oh, I thought you would be more like, whatever was in their head," and identifying more with the character. And although I grew up in a similar neighborhood, probably, but I'm not that guy. So that's probably a good thing for me.
We're kind of relieved, actually.
Oh,
yeah. That's what I love about you. So that's what I most want people to know in listening to this conversation right now. Real human beings. So, Kris, I know you've got some questions there. We've been, I know them well enough that I'm just chatting back and forth. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just fine, and it's always hard on the Zoom format too, because we really have to take turns, and I'm a seasoned interrupter, so it's really tricky for me to wait my turn. But I would like to know, Bernie, can you please tell me about a person who's really touched your heart, made a difference in your life? If you were to pick one person that just kind of stands out as somebody impactful, who would you talk about?
Well, jeez. I think there have been a lot of people that have been impactful, and that's really difficult to kind of, isolate into one person. I think there were a lot of people throughout my childhood, certainly, and my youth, that were there for me because of, just because of the my childhood being so kind of wasn't the best childhood. So I think there were people there that I think were there for me because they knew I wasn't going to get that kind of help at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough when you're growing up in an abusive household. So I think I had the wherewithal to know what I wanted to do. I think it was just difficult to get the reassurance at home, and there were a lot of people along the way that were there for me. I think that just kind of kept me on the straight and narrow in many ways, and helped me to get me through it all. So I don't know that it's any one person. I mean, I've had close friends that families had brought me in to let me live there and feed me and great coaches and people that were kind of mentors all through my life. And so it's very difficult to kind of isolate one. I guess, my Aunt Fran my mom's sister. I guess that she would be one of the people that has always been there for me, just because she knew, you know, what was going on in my household, and she was very athletically minded as well, and talented from a a creative point of view, and so I would have to say that, you know, she's probably the one person I still turn to today, and I'm still very close to.
Nice. We've talked about Aunt Fran before. One other time. That's interesting that you brought her up again. Do you what about, can you add in, you hinted at it again about sports. You were talking about golfing, but can you talk about the role that hockey and, you know, other sports played as a role in your life when you were younger?
Yeah, I think team sports, you know, kind of give you some kind of, you know, structure. So I would think that was the biggest thing for me with team sports. And, you know, hockey, there's just so many guys on the team. So, you know, there's, you have this, and basketball, I guess, too. But, you know, so you have these extended families that you know, even if your family is a little off, you know, there's all these other families that are there as well, and these guys that, you know, become your family as much as anything, because you're spending, you know, 3, 4, 5 days a week with, either talking about the game or playing the game or practicing the games. So I think that those are the biggest things I would take away from all that: the structure and the camaraderie that, you know, is, you know, you can't just put a price tag or any kind of, you know, it's in depth. I mean, those guys are my friends, you know, for life. You know, that's the kind of bond I think I still talk to those guys in many ways. Not regularly by any means, but I have some of those guys from my basketball team and guys I played hockey with that, you know, I can easily, you know, call up or text or connect to on one of the social medias avenues that I have at my fingertips, and they're there, you know.
That's awesome.
I think that's probably the biggest thing for anybody, you know. Yeah. And I think, you know, in hockey, you know, if you have aggravations or things that are going on, certainly one of the better sports that you can get some of those frustrations out. You know, there's enough contact going on there, you know.
Yeah. You have the best smile. I'm so glad we just got to see you smile. It's one of my favorite things about you. He has just a great smile. Smile for us, please. You just a lovely, beautiful smile. You know, a sought after male model in his youth. So there he is. Kris, sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, you know, you're talking about hockey being this great team sport and outlet. And I was going to say, if you've never played ladies soccer, Bernie, it scores pretty high on that release as well. I miss my team sports, and all the things you were saying about your hockey team. I was like, yes, I'm friends with all those girls, and I love getting out and running around, kicking a ball, getting those frustrations out. So, I mean, no body checking in ladies soccer, but still, it's such a great thing for all of the things that you just mentioned there. So,
yeah, I think that's probably the same with any kind of a team sport, for sure. And you know, I'm sure there's some similarities in whether or not you're just, you know, swimming or playing tennis, or I'm sure there's some camaraderies going on there, you know, guys, people you're practicing with. So regardless of whether or not they're a team sport or not, I'm sure there's some similarities in those, but probably not quite the same as, you know, hockey or basketball, where you're going out as a line, and that line is, you know, those are 5 guys that you're going to be playing with the entire year, or maybe for the next 2 years, you know. So it's kind of a little different. Your basketball team, those 4 or 5 guys are switching up all the time. So there's different 4 or 5 guys on there. But in hockey, generally speaking, that line that you're assigned to, those are your 5 guys that you're going to play with the entire time, right? That's not probably going to change.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to gel with those guys and get to know who's where and when, and you really work as a team together from that experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
No question. Yeah.
So what would you say, leading back into where we are now and today, like what inspires you now, like right now, when you are looking at, okay, today's my best day, I'm my best self, like where do you draw inspiration from? I know I'm really going to make you think.
yeah, that's a difficult one to kind of stay focused and keep positive, any kind of positivity going on right now with so much indecision in the world and what's coming next. It seems like every day the goalposts change, and there's when you just thought things were going to open up and be better for us, something else changes the next day. So I don't know how people do it. I think for me, I've just never been much of a quitter. And I get up every morning thinking that I'm better off being outside doing something. So I go to the gym every day. If I'm not, I'm not working as a caddy right now because of the whole COVID thing. It's just really starting to open up. It's probably going to be another, month, maybe 2 months before things start to click again. And now they're talking about, possibility of, cutting down flights within the United States from state to state. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, one minute you think, like I said, that it's all going to open up, at least within the United States, and, things are going to change. And the next minute you're thinking, well, no, now we're possibility of just people in California again. So I don't know. I know that it's best to be active.
Yeah.
And to try to take your mind off of that stuff, whether it's activity by going to the gym or whether or not it's activity by writing or doing something constructive that's going to take your mind off what's going on around you, and try not to be focused on that, because to me there's nothing except negativity surrounding most of this, and I don't think any of that negative energy is good for anybody. So I try to go out and read or go to the gym, and I think I've either become a better cook or I just really like eating my own food.
Elizabeth, I think Barney just invited us for dinner. That's what I heard.
You find a flight.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not gonna go all the way from Maine. He knows Maine. It's super funny. Okay, let's go all serious again for just a second, because I know we're going to be short on time here in a little bit. We don't want to go too long. What's a cause that's near and dear to your heart, and why? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, I'm pretty big on the whole prostate cancer thing, since my own diagnosis with that, a little over 3 years ago. So for me, it's that's been I try to get the word out for that. I just think there's a lot of guys out there that probably like me, that, I didn't have any kind of, symptoms or anything. So I just found out by luck. And thankfully for that. Because I think if you find out too late with an aggressive prostate cancer at my, in the 50s, it's probably not a good thing. So, I try to be aware and extend myself for those people that are dealing with those sorts of things. I don't want to see anybody suffer with anything. So, I mean, if it's a worthy cause, and there's many of them out there, I try to lend a hand in some way, or at least bring awareness to it. But, my biggest, the biggest one, of course, is prostate cancer for men. I just think there's just a lot of guys out there that are, going to gonna pass, and you know, through no fault of their own, just from lack of knowledge and awareness, you know, don't need to pass, don't need to, you know, die from this. So you know, I always tell most guys, anybody over 45 now, you know, they should probably get a PSA test done so that they, you know, are aware of what's going on in their body. I think there's a lot of you know, misinformation with guys. I think a lot of them feel like, you know, they go into a doctor's office to some guy they hardly know, and they have to, you know, bend over for a prostate exam, and that's really not going to tell them anything except that, you know, it kind of feels normal on one side of it. So, you know, I would forego that sort of an exam, and I would just go get the PSA test. I think it'll be a whole lot better off.
Telling. Yep.
I think that awareness though, and that education piece is huge. I've had lots of touches with different cancers in my life too, and it's been heartbreaking the times that they're like, oh, an earlier discovery of it would have been a game changer.
You're
So
right,
what
a game changer.
really speaks to my heart. And so yeah, if anyone's listening out there, go get your young man checked.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely.
Young man, because I think that's the thing too. I'm 44 right now, and I feel like, oh no, I don't need to check things that a 40-year-old would do because I'm only 22. And then I go, oh wait, I am 44. So it's kind of catching up and learning what that next stage of health is. So I think there needs to be a lot more information about that. So I love that you're championing that for prostate cancer, because I do think that's a great need. Yeah.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. So circling back to our theme for today in our summit, we've been talking about mindset, and even in this interview with you, lots of things have sort of touched on that mindset. So I want to ask you, like, do you have any tips for maintaining a strong mindset? And I mean, we've talked about now your prostate cancer, the situation with COVID, the change in like scenery and landscape of how we're relating and navigating life. Like, it is tough times. So what would you say if someone was like, oh, I'm having a really tough day? Like, what is your advice to keep positive? I know you had said getting outside is key for you. Is there anything else you would add to that?
You know, it's very difficult because there's just so many things that touch everybody a little bit differently. You know, I think you have to find your own little, you know, happy place. And that's, you know, so it's very difficult kind of for me to kind of like look at everybody and say, you need to do this, because I'm probably the last guy, you know, realistically, that, you know, I'm not a doctor, and I'd never profess to be one. I just, you know, want people to be happy and try to live stress-free and not have this negativity around them. And I think negativity is one of the biggest, you know, issues that we have. And it's certainly probably one of the biggest things in our lives that cause inflammation, and from inflammation, disease. So, you know, you know, as much as I'd like to be able to think that there was one kind of guru message that I could throw out there and say, everybody do this, I can't do that and be honest about it. But whatever it is that everybody has that has made them happy, whether it's sitting down watching a live comic on Netflix or whatever the case might be, I think that those are things that we need to write down and you know, make note of, and you know, try to keep a little bit of those things in our lives when we are having those moments where you think the world is coming to an end. Because, you know, as much as it feels that way sometimes, you know, if you wake up in the morning, that's a good start. And now you just have to worry about getting through the rest of the day. You know, yeah. I guess the biggest thing that I would say about any of that, you know, it's always good to have a good friend you can call and just talk to.
Yeah. We talk, Kris and I talk every morning. Do you know that? We do every single morning. We do a Percolate Daily. We lead people on breathing and mindset and laughter and mantras and all this stuff. And it's changed our world.
Yeah, those are all key things for sure. I just, and I'm hoping that through this last year almost that we've been dealing with this, that there are a lot more people that become aware of those things. You know, there, as much as this is kind of like taken away our normal lives, I think there are things within this whole thing that is, I hope people will walk away from and have discovered things that will, you know, enhance their lives moving forward. Because I think, you know, if you sat around for the last year and not been able to come away with things that have enhanced your lives, then I'm not really sure what you did for the last year, but it was a long wasted amount of time, unfortunately.
Agreed. So we have this thing called Incredible Yes on Best Ever You. It's a moment where you said yes to something and it changed your life. Do you have an incredible yes moment that, or a few of them that you would share with us?
Jeez, that's good. An incredible yes moment. Like an incredible aha moment.
Yeah, or a moment where you
from the guys,
something or someone.
From the guys from Curse of Oak Island. That's an aha moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We may have taken it from there. I'm not. No,
I didn't. I love that show. Actually, I love that show. I wish I could go help dig with them. I could have passed some time away. Let me dig a hole, Jack. Yeah. I don't know about incredible yes moments. I mean, you know, that's kind of like asking me like who those mentors were and who really stands out in my life, you know, as yes moments. You know, biggest yes moment, my daughter's birth. that was the biggest yes moment I've ever had, you know, and you know, just hearing from her and yeah, not every day. So I don't get that from 25-year-old, but you know, just the mere fact that we're close and we have those. That's my yes moment. Just knowing that I've been able to maintain a loving relationship with my daughter. I don't have any kind of things that matter more to me than her. Everything else are just extensions of things that I've found that I was good at and I continued to do. And you know, I just try to stay being myself and being just remembering where I came from and being grateful for the things that I have in my life and still being alive and stay humble.
Yeah, that's exactly why we love you. So thank you for that. Okay, so do we have any other questions, or
I think we're good. Yeah, thank you so much, Bernie, for your time and coming on Zoom with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, no, I thank you guys for thinking of me. It was very kind. It's always
first person.
It's always nice to talk to you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it.
I love you, yeah. You're our first person. We designed the conference around you, so I'm so grateful for you always. And I'm glad you're well, and I'm glad you're doing things that make you happy. And I still really would appreciate the head cam in the grocery store for your Instagram. Did you do that yet?
I know, it's this crazy thing. Like I don't know why that happens to me. It's I don't think I'm frowning or look mad at the world or anything, but it just seems like every time I walk down a Safeway aisle, everybody's turning their carts and going the other way. It's
maybe they recognize you and go, "Oh my God, it's Cyrus!" Or something.
I'm nuts. You don't want to deal with that.
Maybe people recognize you more.
You gotta put a
GoPro safety always off.
Yeah, I really do. I think his whole Instagram feed should be just a head cam. People's reactions.
A day in the life.
All right. Stay in touch.
Thank you, ladies.
I'm glad you're living. I'm glad you're living there. It's a heck of a lot warmer. I've lived there before.
Really nice meeting you and chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you. Okay, ladies. All right.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.